there. I have a card today that showcases one of our new diagonal dies. And you can do so much with these, and including multiple cuts to get yourself a really pretty background. So we'll show you how to do that. And let me just quickly show you all the dies we'll be using today. I have the ornamental corners from our Finishing Touch range. From the Greek Island collection, I'll be using the Santorini die. And this is the diagonal called Labyrinth. It's really pretty, and you get a real latticey basket weave look from it. So I've already gone ahead and done a bit of cutting here for us. Cut it a few times. Now the trick to this, it's really important, and I've already taped this into place so I can show you, is when you line it up, you need to make sure that you can see that cutting edge coming through your last die cut. If you can't, you're going to get a real little sliver of paper, and that's not what you want. And then you'll also have to make sure it's lined up side to side. But you know, if it's not absolutely perfect, you can nip it a little bit, and you can get around it. You can even add a little bow in places to kind of mask it, but it is really pretty when you do this. So I'll go ahead and cut this and show you what it looks like. I'm going to cut it turning it this direction down my cutting plate because it's easier to cut, and run it through our grand caliper. Okay, let me check and make sure we've got it all nicely cut through. Absolutely perfect. And let me get my tool in one, and we'll do a little bit of a run over the top. And then let's just take the tape off. See how we did. There we go. So we've got a really pretty mesh background to use, and I think that's lovely. And I think I've cut that 4 times. So tip this into our bin, and we'll tidy it up a little bit. Go. Now, what I've done ahead of time is I've gone ahead and mounted some blue card behind it. And you'll see I've got a big piece of mounting foam there, and that's going to hold up our centerpiece. You won't see that, but it keeps it from getting a little bit of a sag to it. So I'll use this. I'll go ahead and put it into our base piece, a little bit of glue, and get it ready for the rest of our card. And as you can see, I've used some Cosmic Shimmer white PVA glue dots around the edge. Just center that right about like that, and that'll start to dry while we're working on other bits here. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is show you the Santorini die. I'm going to go ahead and use the outside cutting edge and the next one in the decorative insert, and we'll tape this into place. Just line that up. I think it's easiest sometimes is to get one of the pieces into place, and then you can get them nice and lined up around each other so you have a really even border all the way around, and you can add a bit more tape then. That's what I'll do. Bring our cutting plate back over. Take off our little bits that got in the way there. And we'll pop this one through. Go. Let's check it. That's got just a tiny little piece, but what I'm going to do is emboss this, and if that doesn't cut through, then we'll run it through a second time. A lot of times you have dies that have a lot of detail, and they do need more than one pass through the machine. Let's see if we caught that one. That looks pretty good. Tell you what, we will run it over with the tool in one and see if we can get the pieces out. And underneath my tape, just remove that for us. There we go. Yeah, it looks like we've cut that nicely, so let's go ahead and take that out. Pop that back onto our magnetic sheet. Oops. Now one more piece of tape there. There we go. So you can see just how beautiful that die cut is. I'm gonna get these last little guys out of there. Isn't that pretty? So I've gone ahead and cut a blue backing piece for this. So let me glue it together, and then we'll show you how to make it into a frame. A little bit of glue in the center, And just around the outside edge, I'll give some dots to hold it into place. Little dabs here and there, that should do the trick. And if you have any big pieces of glue that might squish out, what you can do is just run your hand over it lightly, take some of that extra off. There we go. And line that up on there nicely. Okay, let me make sure I've got it all attached. And then what we're going to do is take one of the inside shapes and cut the inside of that out. By doing it this way, we keep that inside frame absolutely perfectly even, which makes for a much prettier card. I'll just use my tape, center that right in the middle there. Got a tiny bit of glue there, but I've done one ahead of time so we can use that. And clean up our plates here. Pop that back down and let me just tape that other side so it's nice and secure. There we go. And we'll go ahead and cut that. Okay. So you can see how you get a much prettier frame cut that way. Absolutely perfectly even that way. If you try to cut it separately, you'll not be able to line them up. So that's the best way to go about that. Now I've gone ahead and I've done one with some mounting foam and I've stamped a sentiment. So I want to recess that sentiment into that frame. So what I'm going to do is pop this over the top. Let me take off the backing paper. There we go. One more. And I'm going to just center that over my sentiment. That looks fairly straight. And we'll trim the extra bit around. And I usually just angle my scissors around that so I can catch it right under the frame and not cut into that frame at all. There we go. So now I've got a frame with a recessed sentiment that is perfect for the middle of my card. So I'll bring this back over and we'll go ahead and seat this. I'm going to add just a tiny bit of glue to that and pop it right on top of that mounting foam there. Okay. Now I'm going to add a little bit of a ribbon to that. So I've got some of my satin and I'm using the thinner size. And this comes in a carded pack. So you always have little bits that have taken on that shape. And I find if you don't have a heat tool, or if you have a heat tool, you can use that. And if you have a hair straightener, you can just run it through this and just take out all those little wrinkles. And it's just quick and easy. Satin's got a higher melt point, so if you don't let it sit too long, it's not a problem. Okay. So I've got a nice straight ribbon. I'm going to go ahead and cut make this into 3 sections. And that's about right. And I'll just tie a little triple bow. There's my tails. I'll just make a loop, wrap it around just like you're tying your shoes. Pop that through, grab those, tie that knot, and then you can just arrange those a little bit and keep your tails downward, and you can trim these. There we go. Okay, so I'll add that on with a glue dot. And for the center of that, I'm going to use just a clear Dazzler. Pop that right over here on the edge. And I'll use a little bit of glue on my Dazzler. These are little 8mm Dazzlers, and they're just so pretty. Add a nice little sparkle to any project that you have. Get a little bit of glue on that. I'm going to just let that set up there for a few minutes while we put our corners on. So I've gone ahead and cut some of the ornamental corners. I'm going to pop a little bit of glue on the back of this. And these are asymmetrical corners. However, if you just nip it right in here, you'll have a perfectly symmetrical corner. So if you prefer that, you can use it, which gives you more options for your cards. That'll pop right up in the top corner. They've kind of been designed to be used with the diagonals, so they're just about the right shape and size to go with something going diagonally up your card. Very, very handy. And we'll get this one on there. It's got a lot of little swirls to it, and you want to make sure they're all stuck down really nicely, so little dots on those is perfect. There we go. And right there. Okay. Pop this in this corner just to give a little accent down here. And the last thing I want to do is add a couple pearls into those just to set them off. Put one right there and right there. Perfect. So make sure your Dazzler stays on there nice, but there you go. Isn't that gorgeous? So you've got a beautiful card with the diagonal cut multiple times to give a completely different look, so you can change up the way that that die works and give you more versatility in your card making. I hope you've enjoyed today's video and you'll join us again back soon.